welcome back. Now we're on chapter 8, talking about disclosures. So disclosure is simply sharing information with other healthcare providers or with your clients, or your clients sharing that information with you. The word disclosure is used in healthcare professions, or as used in healthcare professions, refers to sharing information with the clients disclosing their personal information to you as a massage therapist about their health, or it can be therapists disclosing information to the client about the treatment and the modalities they use. And also therapists may disclose information about a client to a third party, such as an insurance company, but only with written consent. Do you ever disclose any information with a third party? And if a client's doctor has written permission to talk to you, you cover your own tail and make sure you get written permission to talk to the doctor also. You need that written permission going both ways, just to cover yourself. Okay, so talking about client disclosure. When a potential new client's called to book an appointment for bodywork, they generally don't think about the information they may need to share before receiving a massage. Clients typically are thinking of the benefits they're going to receive, such as the relaxation or pain relief, but benefits often depend on the massage therapist having certain kinds of information about that client. So our client has to disclose information with us about their health so that we can safely provide massage work to them. The need for client disclosure. Body workers ask complete strangers to disclose a great deal of personal information about their health history before receiving treatment. Often, new clients are somewhat surprised with the amount of information that therapists ask. Most therapists have new clients fill out an intake form that asks questions about medications, past surgeries or injuries, any medical problems they've had in the past, or that they currently have. A client who has received massages before may be familiar with the intake form. However, your new clients sometimes are a little shocked by us asking for this information. So it's really important to explain to them why we need the information. And it's just so that, as you've learned with anatomy and pathology, a lot of certain diseases and a lot of medications even can affect or be affected by the massage itself. So we need to know in order to keep our clients safe. Educating clients is an important part of being a body worker. So again, it all goes back to education, education, and education. Therapists should never assume that a client will instantly trust us or understand our expectations for them. So it's necessary to carefully explain to clients that in your training you learned that massage could sometimes be dangerous to a client's health or condition, or could sometimes have adverse effects with their medications. And most of the time I find that clients respect you more for educating them, for looking out for their safety and everything. So it's really a good thing in the long run, but you may have a few resistant clients that don't want to give you that information. And, we can't force them to give us the information, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you will do a massage without that information. A lot of spas, especially here in Tuscaloosa, they do massages and they don't have any client background at all, any kind of medical history or even a list of their medications. They barely even know your name and phone number. But it's up to you to kind of decide what you will allow and what you let slide or not. For me personally, I do a lot of clients do have medical issues, and my theory is if I don't have your medical history, you don't get a massage. But again, there's no way to be certain 100% that they disclose all of their information to you, especially in that first initial session. But it is important to make them understand that the massage itself can have adverse reactions to certain medical conditions and to certain medications. And then, if they choose to continue and you choose to continue, so be it. They make sure that they've signed something stating that they agree to continue without you having medical history or medication information or such sorts. Client non-disclosure. It's talking about where the client refuses to disclose. Again, I would cover yourself. Make sure you get something signed stating that they refuse to disclose information. The client doesn't think certain information is relevant to the massage, so it's our job, again, to educate the client about important information that we need and why we need it, that we're not just being nosy or being prying, that it's actually relevant to the work we're doing. And a lot of times the client simply forgets to disclose something specific. And so during your client interview at the beginning, you should always be asking questions, kind of helping to jog the client's memory if needed. They may refuse to diagnose something because they feel the information is private. Personal issues may be involved, such as past abuse or disturbing emotional memories associated with a condition. A client may also need time to develop trust in you before they disclose that information. So a lot of times, just proceed with caution. Some situations, the clients may not list a condition that would be that would put them at risk when receiving body work. So again, make sure your intake forms are filled out. Make sure they sign off on that. So if they did not disclose something, you have written backup saying that, supporting that they didn't disclose whatever condition. Third-party disclosure, over on page 88. A third-party disclosure is giving information about a client to another party. Third parties can include doctors, osteopaths, chiropractors, insurance companies, physical or occupational therapists, or even lawyers. You may also receive information for yourself from other parties about your clients. For example, if a chiropractor refers a client to you, you may receive information pertaining to the condition that you are treating. Medical professionals may refer clients to you and then request information back about the client's progress or current status during the treatment. Even when a client is referred to you, you still have to have written permission from your client to share any information about that client. In all the cases, the client must give written permission for you to share the information about the client. That's very important. You have to have that written permission. And like I said before, even if the doctor or the chiropractor has a release to share information with you, that doesn't mean you have permission or a release to share information back with them. So you have to get the written release on both sides for it to be valid. Okay, so this is a client intake form. It's not the form we use, but it does give you an idea. Couple of key points. Consent is required to release client information. Check what information the third party needs and know your legal responsibilities. Again, I didn't know, or no one ever told me that. It's not a legal defense. Okay, so therapist disclosure. Disclosure of modalities and treatments. This is where says clients who are being treated for a condition or injury frequently ask about certain modalities and what they can do for them. Many also ask how long treatment will last, how quickly they will get better. In most cases, unless a client specifically asks for a certain type of work, the therapist determines what type of body work best suits the client's needs. One client may benefit most from deep work, such as myofascial release, while another may gain more from craniosacral therapy. Therapists should discuss with the client the work to be performed along with expected outcomes. And again, never work on a client, never use a modality you're not properly trained to use. If you feel like they would benefit more from a modality you're not trained in, refer them to someone else in the area who is trained in that modality. Disclosure of credentials. So often clients are going to ask you where you went to school, how long you attended, and how many hours of education you have. These questions usually are fairly easy to answer, but describing how you have continued your education in a new or different modality can be much more complex. We have to do, again, state, it's 16 hours for the state of Alabama. If you have your national certification or you're going to pursue your national certification, it's a minimum of 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years. So we attend seminars and conferences to learn new approaches and styles to massage that interest us or that clients have requested. So continuing educations are offered on single weekends, over several weekends, or over many days depending on the class. So educating clients about your continuing eds is a little different than your basic massage programs because it's going to vary with everyone. So like with your program, you're doing a diploma in therapeutic massage. It's an 800-hour program. You have a minimum of 100 hours working on clients in the clinic setting, plus your homework massages and your in-class massages and instructions. So all of this kind of plays into your credentials. Ethically speaking, massage therapists who attend a weekend workshop should take the time to practice their new techniques and research more fully the information presented in the seminar. Don't do a weekend seminar and go to work Monday morning thinking you're a master of Thai massage and that you can perform Thai massage on anyone and everyone. You need to practice those techniques, and not necessarily just Thai massage, but any modality. You always practice those on friends and family for a significant amount of time before you start treating the public with those modalities or techniques. Moving on to disclosure of health status. Therapists expect clients to inform them about their health and any conditions they have to help determine if massage is safe to perform. And clients should also expect their therapist to disclose any information that could affect them adversely. For example, a therapist has a viral infection such as a cold or flu. Clients should be informed. They should be allowed to make that choice of whether or not. If you have a cold or you have the flu, chances are you're going to cancel the appointment anyway, but you need to expose that information to your clients just to keep them safe. I know I work with a lot of oncology patients, and with them it's very important because their immune system gets wiped out, that if I ever get sick in any way, shape, or form, I always notify them, allow them to decide whether or not they want to do the massage, because ultimately it's their health at risk. And same is true when I was undergoing chemotherapy myself. I had to disclose that to my clients because there's a very minute chance that the chemotherapy could be transferred from me to my clients, and I wanted them to be aware of that. So I made sure to put together information packets on the type of treatment that I was receiving and what the risks were for them to get exposure to that treatment. Most of the time, I only had one client that wanted to actually see the information, and it wasn't so much that they were worried. It was just for educating themselves. They were interested in it, and they found it intriguing. But always consider disclosing your health status to clients. Our world is affected by a number of serious long-term communicable diseases. I ran that together too quickly. Herpes, Hep B, and HIV are examples. The CDC, or Center for Disease Control and Prevention, has tracked a number of healthcare workers affected by diseases such as HIV and AIDS since the 90s. It gives the example in 2001, 5.1% of the more than 450,000 reported cases of AIDS occurred in individuals employed in healthcare. Each disease spreads in specific ways, and any therapist who is affected should be educated about the possible risk to others and how to prevent disease transmission. A lot of these diseases are sexually transmitted. They're not really going to be a danger for our clients, but you still have to educate yourself and educate your clients about their risk as well. The ethical dilemma here is whether all information about therapist conditions and diseases should be disclosed to clients. We have the right to refuse to treat clients whose conditions present a risk to us, and our clients should have that same right, but only if they're actually at risk. Unfortunately, many of these serious diseases have a great stigma attached to them, and the public is scared of what they don't know or understand. So again, it's important to, if you do have a disease or something and you do choose to share that with your clients, then you want to have information about it, and information, true, honest, open information, ready for your clients to read if they should choose to. Move on from that. Disclosing personal information. So, disclosing personal information says, in addition to health information, any information about training and techniques, therapists or clients may intentionally or inadvertently disclose personal information. Several questions may be involved. What information should be considered personal? Who determines if the information is personal? Why is the personal information being disclosed? What responsibilities does the listening party have? And when one receives personal information, what should be done with it? So disclosure by the client. Any information a client discloses to a therapist may be considered personal information. This includes, but is not limited to, the information on their health history form and information the client tells the therapist. When the information is relevant to treatment of the client, this can be considered assessment information. Strictly personal information, in contrast, is not relevant to the treatment that the client is receiving. For example, information about what a client and her friends did last weekend or how the client is treated by her spouse is personal information. That doesn't necessarily go in their files. Anything that goes in their file is considered to be permanent. So be cautious about what you choose to add to your client's files or what you add in your SOAP notes. Let's see. So clients' lives sometimes involve emotional stresses that contribute to physical stress and strain. The therapists know that emotions can affect the human body physically. So stress caused by emotional issues and situations can cause a great deal of tension in the body and other physical problems. So clients may seek massage to help relieve that tension. But where do we draw the line between what we treat and what we don't treat? Working out tension in muscles is within our scope of practice, but again, advising clients about dealing with causes of stress could easily lead to stepping outside of your scope of practice. Be cautious about that. Body workers have a natural inclination to want to help clients feel better. This attitude sometimes leads to willingness to listen to clients' problems and other personal information during the session. And again, I say listening is okay, advising is not, or counseling is not. You have a case study here. Be sure you read over that. And then it moves on to disclosure by the therapist. So on the other end of the spectrum are therapists who disclose their own personal problems and information to clients. It's not uncommon to hear clients say that their therapist spent an entire hour talking about their lives, their relationships, their pets, their children, etc. Sometimes therapists try to engage client in conversation by asking about their personal lives. Imagine what a client must feel like when they are only looking forward to an hour of peace, but instead they have to listen to the therapist talking about their lives the entire time. So it's not very professional. So try to eliminate talking about yourself and make the session about the client if you have to talk. And if the client is not talking or not chatty or whatever, be silent, focus on the work, focus on the breathing. Try to get the client to be silent and focus on the breathing and the work being done, and it'll be a much better session for both. Best kept secrets, box 8-2. Anytime someone is on your table or seeking advice about massage, the therapeutic relationship is in place. The person on the table is your client and you are the therapist. The client deserves to receive massage with no interruptions. Your client deserves the best you can give. Each time I put my hand on the doorknob to enter the therapy room, I stop and take a moment to say to myself, this person will receive the best massage I have ever given. The person deserves a full hour of my attention and focus on his or her well-being. Key points. Information disclosed by a client should be used to help assess conditions and plan treatments. A client's personal information should not become part of the session or the therapeutic relationship. And a therapist's personal information should never be part of the session or the therapeutic relationship. So do exercise 8-3 if you've not already done so. Okay, key terms. Disclosure. Disclosure is revealing information to another person about oneself or another person. And third-party disclosure is giving information about a client to an outside person. And again, anytime you have third-party disclosure, make sure you have written permission to do so. And that ends our section on disclosure. Next, we'll talk about ethics of working with others.